What's going on, guys? It is MurderInc here, and today I have a really special video for you. I'm going to be going over the new world record for a clan boss team that I set. I'm going to be going over my, final project for a YouTube series, and pretty much I want to talk about how I've been doing clan boss for well over a year now, and I'm kind of running out of things to do, so I'm looking to kind of take this into a different direction, but we'll talk about that after. The first thing we want to start off with is the new world record for the clan boss. Alright guys, so here is that record for you. We have 112.54 million damage dealt in an Ultra Nightmare single key with a pretty similar setup to the last clan boss team that I made that held the previous record of 106 million. So we have Lord Shazar here doing 36.4 million damage, Dracomorph at 41.9, the first Santa Claus at 10.1, second Santa at 7.5 million, and finally Seeker at 16.4 million damage. This was a ton of fun to do. As you can see from it saying 25 minutes, this was another manual key. And pretty much the only real difference this has from my previous record is adding another Santa Claus instead of Warcaster, which is who I had before. I get an additional round of counterattacks, and that, as we can see, added up. I did also give my champions some final tweaks to their gear, how hard they hit, so that definitely played a factor as well. There are a few things I can do to improve this damage. I believe the threshold that I saw was going to be 118 to 120 million as far as maximum potential, but I really didn't want to keep manualing for 25 minutes and setting this even higher. If someone's going to break this, potentially I'll go back into it. But this goes on to the previous point of I've slowly been running out of things to do with the clan boss. As much fun as it's been for the past year and a half or so, I'm kind of looking to move into a new direction. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to make one final project to see what I could do, kind of push myself to the limit here. And so what I did is I took 4 champions and I said, let's try to do as much damage as possible. And I ended up doing 60 million damage with 4 champions. And of course, my good friend Napoleon Camembert said, wait a minute, you're not getting off that easy. So what he did is he one keyed with 4 champions and he said, now it's your turn. So huge shout out to Napoleon. I'm glad we could have some final fun in the clan boss here. So this is the final result from my 4 champion team. We have Dracomorph doing 36.3 million, Sir Nicholas doing 12 million damage, the second Sir Nicholas doing 9.2, and finally Seeker doing 13.2 million damage. This was a ton of fun to do. As we can see, this is also a manual key at just under 20 minutes. So this was a ton of fun. This is probably my final clan boss project as far as things that I would like to think of. Now, if someone else comes out with a clan boss team that's really cool, I'll absolutely cover it for you guys. However, I've been doing clan boss for so long, I feel like it is time for me to kind of branch off and give some information back on other parts of the game. I know I've been doing clan boss for so long, it may seem like clan boss is kind of the only area of my expertise, but I definitely have a lot more to offer as far as other aspects of the game go, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. I am holding off a bit on the champion spotlights until this major tuning patch does come along. So once that drops, I'll definitely be getting out a lot more champion spotlights, going over them in depth, seeing how they can help you as the player. Outside of that, I'm really looking for all of my viewers to take the time, if you could do me a favor, leave a comment, tell me what type of content you would like to see. And if this is the first time you are watching me, a little bit of background. I wouldn't say I'm opposed to free to play and low spender things. However, I prefer to showcase concepts and ideas with the champions that I have that apply to the entire player base, no matter where you are in the game. So something like build an all rare team, build an all epic team. I can show you what abilities do the best, so you can build a team based on that. But if I were to build an all rare team, even an uncommon team, which I had looked into, 2 King Nightmare clan boss, I'm going to be using gear that is not realistic for anyone to replicate, so there's really no point in me showing that. However, I can definitely do something where if you want an all rare stage 20 with realistic gear, I can give you the champion skills you would need to pair together, what kind of synergies you would need, in that dungeon to make it work to your benefit. Just saying all rare, all epic, it's not really, it's going to apply to less people than you would think, because even though I'm using legendaries most of the time when I do my showcases, you can pick out specific skills they have. You can apply them to lesser versions of epics, even rares that have those versions. If I just simply stick to all rares, all epics, you will need those specific champions, and everything in this game is RNG, whether you're pulling an epic, rare, or legendary. Obviously legendary has the lower chance, it costs more to book, but the principle stays the same, which is why I strictly stick with concept pieces when I do my videos, and it seems to have resonated the best with my viewer base and who currently watch my videos. So one thing I do want to do, I don't just want to show you the screenshot here, because this specific 4-team key was actually rather fun to make. So obviously showing you the gear in these champions, not really ideal, because you're probably not going to try to replicate this. Why use 4 champions when you can use 5? But I think the basic setup of this is really cool. So one thing to note is Santa and double Santa especially, this was extremely hard to pull off. I'm sure Napoleon can agree with me on this, where when we get to the certain part of this run, I'm going to explain it better, but there's going to be a part where Dragomorph has 2 continuous heals, and he's going to heal twice, and the fast Santa, which is right here on the right of the screen, is only going to heal once. So one thing to note is Dragomorph is in Relentless gear, but also I have an unkillable champion in Relentless as well to really maximize my output here. So that was a lot of fun. It's rather hectic, not going to lie, is you never know if he's going to outrun his own unkillable buff, but I got lucky in the few tries that I did make to try to make this happen, and like I said, it was just a ton of fun here. So there we go, we see the extra turn popping off from our slow Santa there, which is a lot of fun. So Dracomorph is always going to take the stun. That is going to be the key here. As we can see, there is no block debuff champion on this team, which means that Dracomorph always has to get stunned. If any other champion gets stuns, this will be a wipe. Another slight benefit to this is that if for some reason Santa gets stunned, there is the possibility that I get lucky with enough Relentless procs on the slow Santa Claus to fully cycle through his unkillable and pretty much save the match, which is kind of wishful thinking. I've never had to do it, but it's definitely still an option here. So it looks like I'm getting more Relentless procs than when I ran the record key, which of course always happens when I do anything live, which just means that if I know my track record, this run is going to pretty much collapse on itself because something terrible is going to happen. So we are pretty much, so we are fully in the 2-to-1 ratio here. The speeds are much higher than you would expect. I believe it's 280 speed, and then everyone else is between 250 and 247 speed. So there's definitely a ton of speed on these champions here. So after this stun, I'm going to show you the first rotation and what I had to do to make this successful, to make sure this run didn't completely collapse in on itself. As you can see there, Dracomorph popping off. So after this stun, this is where I'm going to show you how everything goes down here. So we have Seeker go here. Santa will always use his A1 there, which is the benefit to having that Relentless gear. You're going to turn meter boost here. Now everyone's going to get their second turn in the cycle. Let's hit him with that defense down and weaken. A1 here, extra turn, perfect. Now we're going to unkillable, and this is going to set up Santa Claus using his unkillable, the fast one on the first round, means that we're getting to the kind of sketchy round that's going to come up. And I'm going to show you what entails that and how to pretty much avoid having your team wipe and the specific conditions needed to make sure Sir Nicholas does not get stunned here. So the setup all comes down to what's about to happen next. We apply unkillable here, he gets an extra turn. So Santa's going to go here. Now as we can see, Dracomorph has 2 stacks of continuous heal. The fast Santa has 1 stack. So picture 10, 15 rounds down the line in this clan boss setting here. Everyone's at 0 health. Dracomorph heals the first time. We have Santa going here. Sir Nicholas heals a second time, so he's in an immortal set with 280 speed, which was extremely difficult for me to pull off. I had to use some of my best gear to even make this remotely possible, and that's still not enough. So what has to happen is, we already saw that Santa went once. If he does not proc his mastery and get heal off of that from his life drinker talent, he is going to get stunned. So what I did to kind of make sure that didn't happen is I gave him mastery in the defensive tree that has a 25% chance of removing any debuffs placed onto this champion. So it's not a high percent chance, and if it doesn't proc, it is a wipe. But I did as much as I could to make sure that if worst case scenario, everything went wrong, how many lifelines do I have? So the first lifeline was I have to proc a mastery on his 1A1 before he applies this unkillable here. The second lifeline is I have the chance to counterattack in the AoE before this stun round. That can also proc a mastery, which will be just enough healing to not get stunned. The third lifeline was giving him immortal gear, so he was healing on the 2 turns before he placed the unkillable. And I wouldn't say final lifeline because there's one more, but another lifeline would be the defensive mastery that I just talking about that has the chance to remove the stun from the champion to make sure he doesn't suffer any cooldown pushback. And the final lifeline was giving the slow Sir Nicholas, and when I say slow, I mean 247 speed with relentless gear, stacking HP, crit damage, and crit rate, which was another hard feat personally for myself, especially since I already have Dracomorph in the relentless set as well. So the final lifeline would be for the slow Sir Nicholas to have 3 extra turns in between a wrongful stun on the fast Santa Claus, making it so I can continue this run without having to worry about anything. So I'm not going to bore you and go through any more of this run. This is the team that I used with 4 champions to get 1 key. It was a lot of fun to make, and with that being said, this is definitely the last clan boss team that I'm going to personally look into. So the remaining part of the video is where you guys as the viewer comes in. As I mentioned before, I'm looking for what you guys want to see. Try to be as specific as possible and try to be realistic and something that I can actually expand on, not just make one video and have to ask you again in the next video, what should I make on? Any type of series you guys want to see. I know Arena is kind of getting a lot more difficult, so I can definitely touch on Arena. My initial thoughts have been to do something along the lines of showing you the most efficient way to complete all of the dungeons. And getting back to my point before, I'm probably going to be using mostly legendaries, epics, maybe a few rares in these dungeon overviews, but I'm going to show you which skills have the best synergy with the dungeons. Even though I'm going to be showing legendaries, you can find any champion in the game, regardless of their rarity. It can even be an uncommon champion if that happens to fit the case I'm trying to explain. You can use that to your success to make sure you're getting through this content and progressing as efficiently as possible. So as always guys, as much as I've enjoyed doing the clan boss content, hopefully you've enjoyed it as much as I have. I just can't find anything else to do content on personally, and I really don't want to spend too much more time on trying to figure out all of these videos and all of these different compilations on the clan boss, because I feel like I've pretty much covered everything. If you're looking for anything specific or saying, hey, you don't have a video on this, make sure you check out my channel, go through the videos. Most of the clan boss videos are in the playlist called gameplay, so you can look there. I've pretty much covered, like I said, most of the clan boss stuff, and this definitely doesn't mean I'm not going to be doing anything with the clan boss. If a new champion comes out, like my previous spotlight on Grush the Mangler, if the champion does show promise in clan boss, I'll build a quick team. I'll show you the use in clan boss, but what I'm kind of getting at here is I'm not going to be creating anything new, trying to kind of innovate. I'm going to pass that mantle on to whoever else wants to take it up, wants to kind of get a pair of fresh eyes into the game and try to create new things. And if it is cool enough, I'll definitely cover it, obviously shouting them out for their hard work, because I know better than almost anyone how much time, energy, and resources goes into trying to figure out something new. As always guys, let me know what you think in the comment. Your feedback means a ton to me. Don't forget, if you like this content, subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss my next video, and I will see you all in the next upload.